Luke, Andrew, you're welcome. So I'm glad to have you here with me. Okay, good. So we're going to be starting with your favorite topic. I don't know if it's your favorite topic, but it's a topic I really Poluke, I can see you. Hello. So we're going to be, since a lot of people have been trying to know what ants means, we're going to be starting with ants. So Adrian, you're going to be talking about your ants topic. So over to you now.
Okay. I think you said we're going to start with ants and explaining what ants are. Okay. Ants are automatic negative thoughts. We as human beings have thoughts going through our head all the time. I think research has shown that we have about 50 to 75,000 thoughts a day. And so of those thoughts, 75% of them are negative. And they just come from all of the different inputs that we have. We have social media, we have the news, we have people who've taught us to be negative, and they just replay over and over and over in our head. And so when you think about if 75% of the thoughts that you have in a day are all negative, it's very hard to be positive. And so that's where a lot of the fear
that's true.
and anxiety, worry, stress, and all of that come from thoughts. But it's important to know that you are not your thoughts. Your mind is different. Your thoughts that you have, they're different. They're automatic. They just come. And so part of the whole problem of overcoming those things is knowing that you are not your thoughts. They're just automatic. They just come. And so you have the choice to choose which ones serve you. So those are the ones you're going to keep. And the ones that are not in agreement with what you want in your life, you throw those out.
That's true. Well, I hope everybody's clear on ants. So a lot of people are kind of saddled with a problem of fear. So everybody's like, how can I get over fear?
Yeah.
So I would like to throw more light on that. Yeah.
First of all, you have to know that fear is an emotion. And unfortunately, it's something that we're going to all have to deal with. The thing that we want to learn how to do is how to act in spite of fear. Fear is one of the things. So if you think about it, our brains were made to survive. So back in the day when we didn't have any of the technology that we have now, fear served us because it kept us from it initiates the automatic fight and flight response that we have in our brains. And so if there is danger coming to you, automatically fear comes up and it tells you, okay, I need to get out of here. I need to run. I need to do whatever I need to do to survive. And so that's the whole importance of fear. The thing that is that what happens is we use fear in a way that we're afraid of things that are really illogical. So it's not that a tiger is coming up to us and we need to fight and run. It's actually that, oh my gosh, I have to speak in front of people. And that same emotion that we feel when a tiger is coming up to us, it illogically comes into our brain. And so we pick up that same response and want to run and fight or flight for that also. So you have to understand that is where fear comes from, and that's why it's there to serve us. And so what we need to learn how to do is figure out what's logical fear. Like, you shouldn't be driving 150 miles per hour. You should be afraid of those things. And what is illogical? What's something that we shouldn't be afraid of? And that's people or pursuing our dreams. Because if you think about it, what's the worst that could happen? Sorry about that. What's the worst that can happen? An emotion is all that fear is. And so it's important to know. A lot of times I ask my clients, well, what do you experience? Sorry, guys. What do you experience when you feel fear? And if you think
Good
about
nice
it, it's
try.
just an increase in heart rate or an increase in respiratory rate. It's nothing that's literally going to kill you.
Yeah. So another problem I've noticed a lot of people have, it's procrastination. So everybody wants to know, be like, how can I tackle that thing called procrastination? I see procrastination as a disease because it keeps you stuck and stagnant where you are. And I think it's a problem I used to have until I went on this journey. So I would like to throw more light on procrastination.
Yeah, procrastination stems again from our thoughts. And I just want to teach you this self-coaching model that I use with a lot of my clients. So there are circumstances in the world. So you have circumstances. These are things that you can prove in a court of law, things that you cannot change, that you have no control over. Under circumstances, there are thoughts, our thinking about the circumstances. What do I think about the thing that I cannot change? So
That's all.
for instance, if I say I weigh 180 pounds, that's something that can be proven. Now, what I think about me weighing 180 pounds will drive a certain feeling. So if I think that 180 pounds is fat, then I'm going to feel a certain way because of the thought that I had about that fact and about that circumstance. All of our feelings come from our thoughts, and our feelings drive certain actions. So if I feel like I'm fat, then I'm going to feel defeated. I'm going to feel embarrassed. I'm not going to have a lot of self-confidence. Those are actions that I'm taking because of a feeling that came from a certain thought. Okay. And then from my actions, I'm going to get certain results in my life. So if I already feel ugly, I'm fat, I'm not pretty, then I'm going to act in a way that's going to give me certain results. So I'll probably continue to eat bad. I probably would stay in the house. I won't have friends. And so that result in our life is
That's
going to
true.
show, it's going to prove the thought that we initially had. Okay. And so when we procrastinate, that is in the category of actions. So it all stems from a certain feeling that we have. So say we have a business and every day we need to get up and we need to produce 7 different products, right? But we get up and we only produce 3 because we're procrastinating, we get distracted. Know that that all comes from a thought. Maybe you're thinking, this is not
Yeah.
going to be successful anyway, so what's the whole point in me doing anything? So from that thought, you're going to have a certain feeling already of, I'm defeated, this is useless, it's never going to work. And because of that, your actions
Mhm.
are going to prove that thought to be true. You're not going to work. You're going to avoid work. You're going to put it
Yeah,
aside. And
that's
so
true.
know that that is where procrastination is coming from. And so in order to overcome it, you have to look at the thoughts that you're having about the situation. If you find yourself procrastinating and not wanting to go to the gym, look at the thought that you have about it. Do you really believe that you can lose that weight? Or are you choosing negative thoughts? Because your actions are going to always prove your thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. So another problem I've noticed people have, it's business. Everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, but they don't really know how to go about it. And a lot of people are afraid of, will my business succeed? Will I fail? Stuff like that. So how do you think they can overcome that fear of business failure?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
failure.
true.
Fear of failure keeps a lot of people doing the same mediocre things. And if you want to improve, if you want to do some new things, you have to get over fearing failure. Because at the end of the day, if I were to ask you what's the worst thing that could happen, is if, say, even if you said, okay, I put money into a business and then it fails and I lose the money, okay, then what? Like, what's the worst that could happen? You would probably just go back to doing what you're doing now. That's just point blank, period. So,
Yeah, that's true.
you know what I'm saying? You have to get over the failure. Failure is important because it teaches us things. It teaches us what not to do. And so if you never encounter that, you never get better. A lot of people with businesses, you think that just because I know how to do something well, then I should have a business for it. Having talent and knowing the business and how to run a business is two totally different things. It's going to be a learning process. And so you may know how to do something well, but you may not be so good at marketing. You may need to hire somebody to help you, but don't deem something a failure just because you don't know how to do it now. You can always learn, and you learn. The best way to learn is by doing. Failure teaches us what not to do. That's exactly right. You have to do in order to learn. You know, a lot of times what we do is we think that, okay, I want to learn how to do something, so I'm going to just find a lot of research about it, and I'm going to learn. You may be book smart, but unless you get in there and put your hands into it and you start doing, you're doing nothing. You're actually being stagnant. You're procrastinating. So it's important to get out there and do it. And so a lot of times self-doubt plays a big part in that. And it goes back to our minds, what we think about it. And I want you to understand that self-doubt is something that is necessary every time we're going to go up in a new level. It's just something that comes, but are you willing to act anyway? Are you willing to push through the doubts, the thoughts that are not even you? They're just thoughts that come automatically because your brain is, it's put there to try to survive. And so anything new, it automatically thinks that it's harm. And so it's going to tell you not to. But by doing and doing anyway, you're proving your thoughts to be wrong. And that's how you overcome it. By every time you say, well, I'm going to go live today. I may be afraid, maybe nobody may join, but I'm going to do it anyway. And you have 2 people that join, you just prove those thoughts wrong. And so the next time it gets easier. It gets easier the next time that you do it.
So in other words, what you're saying is isolate the fear and take action first.
Yes,
right?
Know that these things, if fear comes up or self-doubt comes up, it doesn't mean that anything is wrong. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. It means that you're human.
Yeah.
And so everybody experiences it. You just need to learn to act anyway, because when you act, that is a foot forward in overcoming it. And it gets easier every time.
Yeah, that's true. Because another way I see fear, it's like a memory bank. So it's whatever you deposit in your bank is what you get. So, right? So what people should do is always deposit positive thoughts, because once you deposit positive thoughts, you can withdraw positivity into your life. So another problem I've noticed that people have, it's the fear of death, fear of sickness, and all that. So how should they overcome that? That used to be a problem of mine, but I'm happy I'm free of that. So a lot of people send me those questions and we're like, okay, fear of sickness or illness anxiety. Let's put it that way.
So maybe even thinking that something bad is going to happen, or you're not able to really live in the moment or be happy when something is going good because you're thinking something bad is going to happen. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah. Like fear of death. Fear of death,
so fear of dying, or are you saying debt like in money? Money debt?
Yeah.
Oh, fear of dying.
Fear of dying.
Fear of dying and fear of sickness and all of those things. So I'm just going to tell you, I believe in God. I'm a Christian. My dad's a pastor. I believe in God. And so my faith really helps me with a lot of this stuff. Know that the enemy, if he can get your mind, he's got you. if he can cause you to stay worried and stay full of anxiety, you won't move because it literally paralyzes you. The Bible talks about how God wants to prosper us. And so if you feel yourself knowing a lot about, thinking a lot about worry and fear and what's going to happen to you, you need to start learning what God says about you, the promises that he has for you. You need to indulge yourself in the word so that you know who you are in God. You need to know what God says about you. Even if disease or sickness comes up, God is a healer. So it says that in the Bible, and it's a scripture that I have on my phone, it says that if we ask anything and believe, we can ask anything and we will receive it. And so there is no restriction on that thing. And so whatever you're going through, no matter what it is, if you believe, but that is the thing that you have to believe. Faith is not believing that God can do something. It's believing that he will do it for you. So these are two totally different things. And in order for you to really believe that he's going to do it for you, you have to know and see yourself through the eyes of God. You have to know that he loves you and that he wants to see you prosper, because it's a mighty bad God to create something and then he just leaves it alone or put damnation on it. That's not our God. So you need to learn the character of God. You need to know who he is and what he says about you, how he feels about you. And see, if you don't know that, of course, the enemy can plant all of those things in your mind and cause you to worry and not do anything with your life. You're here for a purpose. Every single one of us are here for a purpose. And so even if cancer is in your body, you are a living testimony, because God is going to heal you and you'll be able to testify to others of his glory and of his power. It doesn't matter what's happening in your life. You need to know God. You need to know what he says about you. And you need to know that you are purposeful. You are here to exceed and show God's glory.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So somebody was asking, what about fear of losing someone close to you?
Fear of losing someone close to you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sophia.
so still back to fears.
Yeah.
Fear is an emotion. I want you guys to get that. It's just an emotion. If somebody's saying fear of losing someone, that's just being afraid. There's an emotion that's coming up. If fear won't kill you. And so it's okay to say, okay, I feel fear. Then you should try to figure out what can you learn from that. If I'm afraid of losing my mother or losing my father or something like that, again, this is something that the enemy just puts in us. And so we can't enjoy in the present. You get what I'm saying? You can't enjoy the present knowing that you have no control over it. So why do you worry yourself? Why do you, worry yourself about what's going to happen in the future? There's nothing that you can do about it. So that you have to know that it's just an emotion and a worry that's planted by the enemy. Does that make sense?
Okay, I guess that answers. So, yeah, that makes so much sense. Another thing I like to work with is the subconscious mind. So I want to get your insight on the subconscious mind.
The subconscious mind?
On the power of the subconscious mind. Yeah, that's true.
So the subconscious mind, I believe that our brains basically, it's like a computer that just basically everything that we see, everything that we do, it just collects information. It collects information. And so subconsciously you have all of these things from your past that plays in your head. And so that's why a lot of times it's like, when you're trying to do something, you say, oh, you remember what happened the last time? That won't work. It's coming from your subconscious mind. And so what you have to do, you have to remember that every time you stop something or every time you don't do something, all of that is being collected in the back of your mind, and it's going to come forth later. So it's very important that you stick to your word and you stay accountable and do what you say you're going to do, because if not, it's going to be used against you in the future. We can also add to our subconscious mind with, I love affirmations. I love and saying things.
Positive affirmations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
affirmations are basically anything that you say or you think. And so we can add to affirmations by repeating certain things. So every morning I get up and I say, you know, today is going to be a great day. All of those things are being added to our subconscious mind. And the more we say them, the better, the
Yeah.
stronger that they get. You were going to say something?
Yeah, and the more is manifested physically. Yeah, that's true. So another thing that affects fear is the manipulation. Manipulation. A lot of people are being brainwashed and manipulated by their spouses, by their family members, by their friends, by the environment they find themselves. And I've discovered that due to that brainwashing, they don't know, it keeps them in fear. They get stuck and stagnant and they can't move. Even when their brain, their conscious mind is telling them the right thing to do. But I don't know, it's just like a prison. It's just like you are in a prison that you can't break free from.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what should people do about manipulation and brainwashing?
Yeah, there are a lot of people being brainwashed and manipulated. Some it's blatant. You can see it straightforward. Some people don't know that they are being manipulated. Our emotions tell us a lot about ourselves and our situation. Again, you need to know who you are in God. You need to know what God says about you. And if there is something that's going on that does not align with that, you are being manipulated. God says that you will prosper, that you will be abundant, that that He should be leading you and telling you what to do. God is positive. And so if there is something negative, something that just doesn't feel right, that says a lot about the situation. And so if you have somebody else that has control over you and control over your mind, you're basically a puppet. And that's blasphemous against God.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He should be the one leading you and controlling you, not somebody else. And so if they have control over you, yeah, they have control. If you're a puppet, then you're only able to get what they say you can have. Now, we're here to be free. You need to know that. We're here to be free. We're here to live our best lives. And so you need to get from under that. You need to pray to God. He says that he will not tempt you without a way of escape. There are a lot of escapes out here, but if you're not taking it, if you're choosing to be stuck, if you're choosing to be controlled, then that's on you. But if you say, you know, I don't want to be stuck, I don't want to be here anymore, God provide a way of escape. He will do that for you, but you have to take it. You have to take it.
Yeah, that's true. So I hope they do, because I think another thing that affects it is conditioned beliefs. So I feel another problem that people have is conditioned beliefs. So how should they, you know, when something is being in you, like a seed has been planted, maybe right from childhood, and it's grown into a big tree, it's brought out luscious fruits, and you're eating the fruits every day. And you know, the longer the belief stays inside you, the harder it gets for you to uproot it. So what can people do about conditioned beliefs?
Oh my God. Some things we do, we don't even know that we've done just because we've been taught them so long ago. I use an example of just something as small as the washing powder that you use. Here in America, we have like so many different kinds, but from my youth, my mom has always used Gain washing detergent, laundry detergent. And so when I was grown and I was in college and I went to go wash my clothes, you better believe the type of laundry detergent I used was Gain, because I had just been conditioned to think that that was the best. I didn't even try anything else. And so a lot of times the things that we do, a lot of the actions that we take in our lives are because of things we've been taught since we were small. Now you need to know, again, with emotions, when your thinking is it serves you well or if it's not serving you. And so the thing to be able to do to let go of those things is something that I had to do. I had to get help, like coaches with us. We're going to ask you those hard questions and evaluate your thinking processes. Everything that comes in our life flows from our thoughts. And so if you don't have the right thoughts, then you won't have the right results that you want in your life. And so it takes work on becoming aware of the thoughts that you have. Like I said, a lot of us our minds are just running. We don't even know what we're thinking a lot of times, but it's showing up in our lives. And so sitting down and thinking and becoming aware of what we're thinking, if we say, I don't want to go to church tonight. Think about why you don't want what's going on in your head that's making you choose those, make those choices. And so just becoming really aware. I have my clients to journal. I love journaling. To start becoming aware of what you're thinking. So in the morning time, write down what you're thinking about. Write down what your goals are for today, but also write down, what am I excited about today? But what am I apprehensive about? What am I fearful about? And then when you start to write those things down, you have it on paper so you can look at it and say, wow, why am I really afraid of this? What's the worst that could happen? What's the whole point in me being afraid of this? And you can start to see your thoughts on paper. So that's one of the things that I use to start being aware, and question yourself on everything. Start to ask why all the time. Why? Why am I choosing to eat grapes? Why am I choosing to, do anything, whatever it is? Why am I choosing to do this? And it'll start showing you your thought processes. And then you'll be able to see what you need to get rid of and what you need to keep.
Okay. Another thing I've seen is that, anything we think about in our subconscious mind really manifests physically. So I've had issues with clients that have these physical manifestations of whatever they've stored inside their minds. So, like, for instance, I have someone that just gets, due to anxiety, she just gets, her BP spikes up, and no matter what, she can't bring it down. And she doesn't have any medical problem, but everything is just based on the subconscious mind. So now she's trying therapy. She's trying to get positive. She's trying to use positive affirmations. I use meditation a lot. So, and yet, despite the fact that she's consciously happy, she still gets those physical manifestations that as a result of her subconscious mind, obviously, and as a result of when she was still in a negative state of mind. So how does that physical manifestation, how does it stop?
I used to suffer from anxiety a lot. And well, I won't say a lot. I had a panic attack, and I work in the medical field. So I thought when people came into the hospital who were having panic attacks, I thought they were crazy, but it's not. You're not crazy. You need to know that your mind, it tells your body what to do. And so if your mind says something is going wrong, then your heart will start racing. Like I talked about, that whole fear of a tiger coming up to you, when you can just be afraid of a person that may be coming to talk to you. Our minds can be illogical at times. And so I was thinking all the time that I was going to die. Like, I was thinking something crazy was going to happen to me. I was just going to be in some freak accident. It caused me to have anxiety attacks all the time. And so what worked for me is the same thing that I'm telling you, is that you have to know that you are not your thoughts. And just because a thought comes up, you can't let it control you. So when I started to have that and I started to feel that, I would say to myself, nothing is wrong with me. Nothing is wrong with me. I have no reason to fear. Calm down. And I just started to repeat that over and over and over again until I was able, my mind says, okay, nothing is wrong. and it starts to calm down. But you have to talk to yourself. I know people say you crazy if you talk to yourself, but you have to talk to yourself. You have to, because you are in
No.
control. Your mind, don't let your mind control you. You control your mind. You have authority over your mind. And so when all of that comes up and you know what it is, I knew that I was like, here it is again. This is a panic attack. And I need to tell myself to calm down. Nothing is wrong with me. I have angels encamped all around me. God is taking care of me. There is nothing wrong with me. I have no reason to fear. And if anything happens, God has control of the situation. I don't have to worry. And I would just repeat those things over and over to myself.
So it's just basically
Yes.
the power of positive
Yes.
affirmations that works for that. Okay. So any final advice you have for people to finally crush fear and all that? And any questions
I
from
see one
anyone?
question. It
Does
says,
anybody
how
have any
can you use
question?
it to change your life? How can you use positive affirmations to change your life? I'm guessing that they're asking.
How can you use it to change your life?
With positive
Okay, yeah.
affirmations, you find the things that you want to see more in your life. So say you may be going through a very hard financial problem in your life where you're in lack, you don't see abundance. So then you make affirmations for that. You just say, what God, you affirm God's word and what he says about prospering us. You get up every morning and throughout the day and you say, money is easy to make. I see abundance everywhere. And I promise you that works, because once I started saying, God has no respect of person. If he can bless them, he can bless me. I see abundance everywhere. Opportunities are opening up for me. I started to see that all around, guys. Ideas just started coming up in my head about ways to make money. I was just like, oh, wow. I went in my closet one day and I said, oh my gosh, I have so many clothes in here that I don't wear anymore. I'm going to take pictures of them and post them on an app and sell them. Do you not know I started to make money just like that? Just because I was saying it in my head subconsciously, that stuff works and you can start to see it manifest. So find areas in your life where you want to see change. If it's abundance, you want to see more of, start to say affirmations about that. If it's healing, you feel bad in your body, you're sick in your body, you find positive affirmations for that and say, I am healed in Jesus' name. There is nothing that God gives me the wisdom to heal myself. You'll start to find, natural remedies for things. So find areas and start to make positive affirmations for those.
Okay, yeah. So another thing, I know you're a fitness coach too. So a lot of people have issues with weight loss and sustainability, consistency, and all that. So I think it's a mindset thing too. So what advice do you have for those, or what do you use for your clients to make them keep fit, and especially their diets too?
I teach a course about health and learning that we actually we don't live to eat, we eat to live. And so everything that goes into our bodies either help us or harm us. And so the other thing is that I used to suffer from emotional eating. So if I felt emotions I wanted to get rid of, then I would just eat to feel myself, to feel that void. You have to think of your body as like a glass, an empty glass. And so if you hit up against an empty glass, it's going to make loud sound. There's a lot of vibrations. But if you fill it with something, and that's what we do with food, when you hit it, it's not so loud. You can't hear those vibrations as much. And so a lot of times when we feel empty, when we feel lonely, when we feel afraid, we eat to fill that void, to push down those emotions. And that's where emotional eating comes from. And so when I have them to start writing down what they eat, or every time they eat something, a lot of times they're not hungry. They're just trying to feel a certain void. And so we start to try to find out what's going on in those moments when you're just eating to fill that void. Instead of feeling that void, let's sit with those emotions and figure out what's really going on. And so noticing that emotional eating happens, and you need to figure out what's really going on, and then knowing that you eat to live, and so choosing foods that's going to help your body, not harm your body with a bunch of chemicals and a bunch of sugar and all those things that are not getting you towards your goal.
Okay. So it's been an interesting talk with you.
Yeah.
I hope we do this often. So yeah, I really had a nice time, new insights and all that. So I'm sure everybody listening, your lives are going to change. No more fear. You're crushing fear. So tell yourself, if you're still afraid, just tell the fear, I'm crushing you. So it's just an emotion, and it's not true. It's an imagination. It's a wrong identity. So you cannot identify yourself with something you are not. You cannot identify yourself with something that God has not identified you with. So stop listening, filter the distractions, filter them, and just stay true to yourself, and just know that God loves you so much. So thank you, Adrian. I'm so happy.
Yeah, and make sure you guys surround yourselves with positive people. If you're around negative people all the time, it's going to feed and bleed into you. And so find some people that you can be around that's positive. Follow us on Instagram and talk to us. We love talking to you guys for encouragement. Look for encouragement. You can't just think that it's going to come to you. Look for it. Find positivity, and your life is going to change. Thank you, guys.
Okay. So thank you, everyone.
Bye.